on here. It's really cool.
You're right.
Just sit here and keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
I wasn't sure if I should be talking or not.
We're good.
In an age where being a timid, whiny, weak little fruitcake is the norm, we're not just a little different. We're a lot different. You're listening to the Voice of the People USA Radio Network. We're live 24/7 on www.vopusaradio.com. New live shows can be found every day and night of the week. We are the new mainstream media. This is where censorship comes to die, and all voices and opinions are welcome here. Thursday nights, it's Voice of the People USA Radio. The VOP Roundtable, live every Tuesday night. Rise Above the Noise, a conversation with Carrie and Dan, airing live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. The VOP Roast, airing live every Friday night. Tales from the Woodshed and The Calm Before the Storm. And also on Sunday nights, We Drink and We Know Things with Carrie and Kevin. Engage and rage. The Voice of the People USA Radio Network, where free speech thrives and political correctness dies.
Hello.
Hello.
Do I hear you typing?
Oh, did you hear me typing? Oh my God, I have a quiet little computer and I was using that. Oh shit.
That was like a fucking machine gun.
Oh my God. And that's with my bad hand.
Wow. You're doing all right.
I was trying to be live. I was trying to be good in the chat room, and then then that happened. So I guess I won't do that anymore.
No, you're good. I heard it. And
wow.
I was gonna say, that's impressive. I mean, that's some fast ass typing. I mean, I can do that with two fingers like a beast. Don't get me wrong, but damn. So to anybody and everybody who heard the audio, again, I know it has to be updated, and we should have a disclosure on there, a disclaimer. I could speak. Disclaimer that sometimes Rise Above the Noise can be any night of the week, but sometimes
we like to keep you guessing.
Yeah. You never know. So tonight is a doubleheader, and tonight it is Rise Above the Noise from 7 to 9, and then at 9 it is Pilota Shock. And don't worry, I'm not planning on doing super long marathons. We're gonna try to cap it all out at 4 hours, be done at 11 tonight. That's the goal. But it is what? It is July 29th. 2021.
I barely know what the year is, so if you're trying to ask me the actual date, you're going to be screwed.
I can't keep track of shit half the time. You know what? With my memory problems now, again, I blame it on the meds. So that's my excuse for everything now. But welcome to your show.
Our show. Why do you always say that? It's our show.
Because I want to see how many weeks in a row you go, our show. Our show.
Fuck you.
Thank you.
Don't make me get angry.
Don't make me type viciously. So to everybody else out there in the world, please, if you would, kindly share the show. Share the show on social media. Share it all over the place. We kindly appreciate that. We much appreciate that. And as we God, I love the slow start. Like, we should do a pre-show, like a half hour of just mumbling.
Yeah, right.
Before we actually
just to get going. Before we start with just the mumbling.
I know.
Get the mumbling out of the way, the cell phone dings, all of that stuff.
Hey,
the typing.
Hey, be kind. Okay.
Listen, I'm in public and I hear somebody's text tone go off like that. I'm like, damn. Okay. I'm conditioned. It's like Pavlov's dog. I'm conditioned now to just think it's Dan.
You know, I don't mute shit. I'm not good at that. My bad. So yeah. I ended up doing the one show last night because I got back late, so of course I had to miss our show. I'm a rude fuck, and it was funny because
well, we know which show counts more for you on Wednesday nights. Clearly,
hey, that's every other Wednesday, so stop that. So we're good next week, and the week after I might have to cancel. No, I'm kidding. But, not that I'm showing any preferential treatment, but hey, this is the second This is the second longest running show on the VOP network. So hey, you got to own that.
Proud of it. Mm-hmm. Proud of it.
Roundtable is number 3. Roundtable, then we drink and we know things. So there you go.
Okay, we get the fuck out of here. We're number 4. Are you serious?
It's true.
Like Kevin and I are number 4 most listened to show. Are you serious? That's because of people must be drunk listening to us.
Listen to longest running, and and then of course we have Metalheads Unite been freaking crushing it too. They've been kicking some major ass, which is funny because they're on like 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, but they've been doing pretty freaking good. So it's been awesome. A lot of the shows have been and then our news shows like the Political Zoo. It was debut episode on Saturday night at 11, and it crushed it. And then you got
very cool.
Yeah, the Iron Lung. All the shows have been doing really good, which is pretty cool. But no, as far as longest running goes, this is number 2. And then what I was getting at is last night, it was myself, Truly, and NC, and we did the first hour was all like serious shit. We were going deep into the whole, the crap going on and everything else. The second hour was absolute. I think the sleep deprivation kicked in. That's going to be my excuse for for all of it. But it was just. It was just absolute hilarious shit, and we just talking wrestling, making fun of shit. It was entertaining, But I don't know. It's funny. It's I find myself when I'm on the road in the hotels doing this show, which is a pain in the ass. But of course, I have a beautiful laptop. Thank you, Mama.
It's beautiful. Very beautiful.
With the desktop. Thank you, Mama. I have all this awesome shit. So it's easier for me to like just get into the rhythm, I think, on the road, which is strange because I think I'm paranoid that it's all going to really suck. I mean, not that I think any shows are good, but it's like I think that there's going to be problems, so I got to really be on point, blah, blah, blah. But then when I'm home, actually in front of everything, which, ease of access, it's like I got to get fired up. It's weird. Anyway, that was a really boring intro. So remember, everybody, VOPUSARadio.com, VOPUSARadio.com. Please share, follow, subscribe on Craps. Of course, we are at, haps.tv/@VOPUSARadio. That's how you can find us on Craps. And there you go. So I'm very excited because I think very soon we're going to be, shit ditching Craps, which is pretty cool. So that's always a win. And there you go. So what's the first thing you want to talk about this evening?
Well, I'm confused because, and this is not exactly wonderful things. So I have my phone on, which is what I'm doing this with you right now, the HAPS app, right? Yeah. And I'm looking and I see like a bunch of texts on my phone on the HAPS app coming through, right? Not text, sorry, in the chat room. But I'm on where I always am on. I'm on our website in the chat room there, and nothing is coming up there except for me talking. But I noticed that I said quiet chat room tonight, and then it popped up in HAPS, but whatever is going on in HAPS is not popping up in the chat room on our website at all.
Well, you know what? We discussed this, and I think we're going to have to switch out Windows there and do a different something for the website because, just so everybody knows, of course, the maestro has been, doing his mastery, and there's going to be, and Carrie too, and a lot of this behind the scenes shit, trying to put together everything, get ready for the big, I guess you could say relaunch, extended launch, increased launch, whatever that's forthcoming. So I'm putting in a lot of work trying to get everything, situated, but there's going to be changes of the website anyway. But I think maybe we got to switch out that Twitch thing on there because it's just been horrible.
Yeah, I hate Twitch too. So
Yeah, Twitch. I mean, Twitch was halfway decent to us in the beginning, but I don't know.
Right.
We really liked having D Live up there, but it's just weird. You know, it doesn't seem to work
Gotcha.
when we want it to work, and kind of like craps.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in fairness, D Live failed pretty much all the time. So that's still a better record than craps. So last night I got kicked off my my own show twice. So that was good.
Oh wow.
Pretty exciting, huh? So it's all good. It's all good. So what's going on in your world? What's something you want to get into here? I have something.
I don't know.
You sound perplexed.
I'm frustrated, and
the world is fucked.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't even know how to like put things into words anymore, because I feel like I'm just rehashing the same old shit, but I'm not. It's the same old shit that keeps happening. You know what I mean? It's not like it's, I'm just looking at all this, like, like Kevin was, we were talking just before the show, and then I got like a breaking news flash on my phone, and it was the CDC has just come out with, they're going to release the full report tomorrow that apparently vaccinated people can transmit the Delta variant as much as if you're unvaccinated, and that they have huge viral loads and all that. And so I'll tell you a story, and I'm not, excuse me, sorry, I have some allergy situations, and today's a little bad for some reason.
Wait a minute. Is that the Continental Airlines? Wait, no. Is Continental still around? Is that the Spirit Airlines variant that you have?
Yeah, I've had that for about 6 years then.
I'm reporting you. I'm reporting you.
Well, here's the thing. And so I think I saw, and again, I'm on my computer and I'm on my phone. I'm not doing it right now because I'm talking. I'm not like messing around. Trying to log into HAPS on my computer so I can see the chat room better, because I can't see it on my phone. But
that's always fun.
I did see, I think Elias popped in. I don't know if he's still here, but a former student of mine, and I think Elias might know her, lovely, lovely young woman, graduated a year before Elias. I'm very good friends with her, and I saw something Kevin saw. She posted something on Twitter about Rona eyes or something like that, and so I texted her. I'm like, wait a minute, do you have COVID? So she had traveled. She and her boyfriend went to Jamaica, and she said on the flight home she started getting this terrible headache, like just really bad. And they landed, and they had to take a COVID test before they left, and they got one when they got there, and all that stuff. So she said it was negative. And she goes, but it can take 2 days to actually like show up on a test, I suppose. Well, here she wound up with COVID. And so she said, well, she's great. She got vaccinated too. I'm like, holy shit. So she said that she feels that she was pretty congested. She had like, the whole 9 yards. And she said that she was feeling pretty wiped out, but she said that she was grateful that, it wasn't as bad as, it could have been. But I'm just like, this is the kind of stuff, and Kevin and I talked about this. This is the kind of stuff that, all right, so I know that a vaccine doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're not going to catch something, but that it will, keep it very minimal. And that's, if I know you don't buy into the whole virus thing, I do believe it's an actual virus. So I do believe that it's like, something that people can get sick from.
Yeah, coronavirus
and I do believe that. Right. And I do believe that like some people who are immunocompromised can suffer from it far worse. I get that. I don't know that it's as crazy as it, they lead it to be. And this is the problem that we were talking about. The CDC and some of the other, organizations, they give you whiplash with their, information. Like they'll tell you, and I remember way back, it's like, nobody needs to wear masks. Don't worry about it. Save the masks for the hospital people, right? Then next thing you know, we need masks. Everyone needs a mask. Then it's like, okay, everyone who's vaccinated can get rid of the masks. And now it's like, oops, my bad. Everyone should be wearing masks again. And it's like, you can't keep doing that. And no wonder people don't know what to believe or who to believe when you pull shit like this. It's insanity. And so like, and I heard about it. I only listened to the radio briefly today. But there was somebody saying, and I don't know if it was, I go back and forth between a lot of stations. I don't know if it was NPR or what, maybe CNN. but they made the point. They're like, if you're expecting the population, if you're expecting Americans to do the right thing, you can't keep changing the right thing. And I'm like, yeah, because what do you do? And then you hear like, and now here I literally have someone that I'm close to, who is vaccinated, did everything she was supposed to, like, and she was like one of the ones that were very scared at the beginning, right? And so she like stayed quarantined, and she, like the whole time, like this is like, like when this all first started, and she, masks up, and she does everything the right way, and yet she got sick. And of course, now apparently we can still spread it if you, even if you don't get sick. And she was on a plane, and who knows? And if she got the headache, as she started when she was on the plane, that's a very small area. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, so which is it? Is it that horrible that everyone needs to be like, masked up and shut down again? Or, okay, it's fine. And I'm watching the case numbers going up and up and up. And like numbers that like say last year in like September, New York City refused to open the schools because the infection rate was at 3%. Now open those schools, even though the infection rate in New York City is now like 6-something%. And I'm like, okay, so can you tell me why one time is better and the other is not? And they're like, oh, well, some people are vaccinated. And I'm like, yeah, but apparently that doesn't really matter. Now, does it? And then if you think about it, if you're trying to follow the logic, which is impossible because there is no logic in this. So now they say, that kids under the age of 12 still aren't, still can't get the vaccine yet because it's not, whatever. So, you have a lot of school age children under the age of 12. Plus, then I was looking at the numbers in New York City right now, and even the age range of like 12 to 18, only 43% of the student population in New York City public schools is vaccinated. And so you want to hear, I'm telling you right now, I'm not that this is of any, didn't take a lot of brains to come up with this idea, but I'm telling you September, because a lot of schools go back in August. So I'm going to say September, end of September, beginning of October, you're going to start hearing about school reopenings being super spreader events, guaranteed. And you're going to see those case numbers go sky high. And I guarantee you that they're going to be like too focused. Like before, they were worried about the health of everyone. Now they're only worried about the economy. So keep everything open. I'm like, all right, so I don't know. Am I supposed to be afraid, amused, confused, dazed? I'm just like, fuck everything at this point. And at this point, if I get it, I get it. And I don't care. Holy shit, it's just insanity. Like whiplash, literally whiplash. Sorry. There we go.
No, you're good. You know my thoughts. I laugh at all this, and we spent a whole hour last night talking about so many things, and we spent so many shows talking about so many things, and I simply just laugh, and as I keep using as an example, because I find it comical, is again all over the world all weekend, hundreds of thousands of people in the streets standing up saying no to the lockdowns, no to the mandatory vaccines, no to this, and here we are in America. What will the CDC say we're allowed to do today? Like a bunch of fucking flaming pussies, and it's an embarrassment, and we look like the joke of the world, not just because we have a Pinot, president in name only, got my butt wiped. That asshole in the White House embarrassing the world, but that's irrelevant because he's not even there. He's been gone for a good decade at least. But we are the laughing stock, and it's so funny to see what's happening. I there's a great video. I'm trying to find it and upload it for either this show or the next show. That's always a pain in the ass when it comes to doing that shit. But it's one where it's Dr. Fauci debates Dr. Fauci, and it plays all the audio from him from the very beginning up until this past weekend. Wow. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. They're all crocs of shit. Again, just with the, as I say, the VIR system, 1% reporting the VIR system that they've actually gone on the record and said, of course, they'll try to deny, but it's listed in the VIR system. We're now over 6,000 deaths from the vaccines and side effects and complications thereof, or from whatever the hell else. But that can't be true. It's CDC approved. No, it's not. So, like, I first off,
it's CDC approved, not FDA approved.
No, the CDC didn't approve it either. They did not approve the vaccines.
Oh.
The CDC and the FDA did not approve it, and the World Health Organization did not approve it. The UN did not approve it.
But the 6,000 deaths, if you look at how many like hundreds of millions of doses have been vaccinated, makes it like it makes it the same percentage that you're likely to get sick from COVID. So
that's my point.
It's very minimal, very, very minimal.
Well, no, that's 1% reporting, mind you. So that's literally 1%. So we have no idea of the real numbers. And I assure you, there's a lot of people going through a lot of things. You just won't hear their stories because they got to keep everybody in fear. And again, shout out to Congressman Massey from Kentucky, who I didn't really pay attention to previously, but this dude's kind of spot on. He goes, what did you expect when you get your little vaccine cards? There's 4 slots on there. What did you think the other 2 were for? He goes, because it's never going to stop. And they're going to constantly need new boosters and new this and new that and new. And he goes, and everybody's lining up like cattle, taking unproven, untested, unverified, unsanctioned fucking experimental shit. And I look at India, shout out to them. I think they're at 1% of their population has the vaccines. Saudi Arabia is at 10% or whatever it is. You go all over the world. And it's just, but you have Australia. 1 case reported, they shut down Sydney, lockdown. UK,
yeah, that's insane.
2 cases, shut down the entire country again. I mean, you're going overboard with the hilarity of it all, because the same people who say they're awake to the fear porn and the fear propaganda are the same ones that obviously still fall for it every single time. And it's like, listen, as we've said on here, we said it last night, we say it's like our own disclaimer. None of us on here are telling you to get it or not get it, but we're going to talk about the fucking realisms on either side, and you make your own educated decision. Don't let
your body, your choice.
Exactly. Don't let fucking TV and celebrities and music and strip clubs and fucking gas stations
and $100 gift cards now, apparently.
Ooh, nice.
I mean, so you get your vaccine, you can get $100 for it. I'm like, okay, so what about people who already got vaccinated? What about all those people? Fuck you. Nice, real nice.
They're like, oh, you'll be dead soon anyway. You don't care. But
oh no, we're neither one of us are dead. We got all the vaccines, so there you go. And we're not magnetic. We didn't grow a horn or anything like that. I'm very disappointed.
Carrie, I want you to be magnetic,
yes,
and I want you to have the protein spike tail that I have.
Well,
but
I do have a magnetic personality.
Oh, shut up. Anyway, listen. As I say to everybody, all right, because people like to attack me and I just laugh. Like, you can attack me all day. I don't really care. But what's funny is at the end of the day, when people say they were vaccinated and they're fine, I say, first off, look at the insert on Pfizer alone. And there are inserts on the other ones. And I say the same thing. I hope to God that you stay that way. And I want nothing but the best. But unfortunately, you have a window of about 5 years to tell me you're still doing good. Some people it's slow acting, some people it's months, some people it's days, some people it's instant. There's no rhyme or reason.
What's supposed to happen? Because I haven't heard anything about that.
Of course you're not going to hear about that. That you got to look at all the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of doctors and medical reports from America and all over the world that they censor off the internet because you're not allowed to say that. As the one, what the fuck was it? One of the dude that does the autopsy, the coroner, reported that a 26-year-old's brain, the severe headaches and the blackouts that happened 3 months after receiving the vaccine, and she inevitably died. And he said when they did the autopsy, the brain was like mush. And she had no prior medical conditions, nothing else. So that's one way. Then you have the heart attacks, you have the strokes. You're having,
but wait. Now I gotta play devil's advocate here. So you're saying all these things, right? But there's no action. Just because, how's the expression? Just because there's correlation does not indicate causation, right? So the same argument has been used about COVID, right? Saying that all these people, like, they didn't really die of COVID on their death certificates, right? They had a heart attack or they had this or that or anything else, but then they're saying it was brought about by COVID. I remember you arguing and getting mad about that. So the same thing could be very true about COVID. Like, I mean, the vaccine, you know what I'm saying? So that's not winning me over on that. Sorry.
I'm not trying to win you over. I'm simply stating the truth that healthy people are dropping dead and 7-year-old women are having their periods. And if the government says that COVID's killing you.
Come on.
The government is telling you COVID is killing you. and everybody believes it. And the government tells you the vaccines are safe and everybody believes it. But you have nothing to attest to, nothing to verify that, nothing to back it up. But all you have is reports coming out from actual, credible, non-conspiratorial, non-political virologists and doctors all over the world. And how come they're the only ones getting censored and getting removed and they're shutting them up? They're not saying anything out of line, including a lot of Democrats and scientists on that side. If you want to play the politics side of it, even they're wondering why they're being silenced and they're not even going all crazy. They're just simply pointing out all these side effects that they've treated in their local offices and they're getting removed and they're getting unlisted from Google or businesses and shit, everything else though. So again, the point is to your point, it's these people that have dropped dead in the autopsy reports and shit, they had no pre-existing conditions. And then
Same
the
thing with COVID.
Well, the COVID thing, though, you have hospitals getting paid money for each death they list as a COVID casualty. So there's that and the comorbidity and the incidents where, oh, we accidentally put 16,000 too many on this list. We're just going to quietly remove this. Oh, we accidentally put 20,000 too many on this list. We're just going to quietly remove this. I mean, so that's what I mean. The cycle of bullshit, you're never going to know the truth, but look at what they're censoring the most. And what they're censoring the most is anybody who speaks negatively about said vaccine, which again, at its core has not been approved or backed up by any medical agency or institution known to man. That's like saying, okay, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Moderna, I trust you with my life. So the same government that's pushing for it has not verified it, has not put their stamp of approval because they're afraid of massive lawsuits and they're afraid of this. Hence why the vaccine creators have given themselves all legal immunities. Amazing how that happens. And, you know, it's... You have to be skeptical of everything because, again, the real-time numbers, and you could find this relatively easy. I think I went on the CDC website, or was it the World Health Organization? I think I went CDC, and we're over technically, we're right around the 1.7 million people have died since the beginning of COVID from TB. Have you heard a word? And TB is far worse than anything COVID. And all the masks didn't help stop the spread of TB, but we don't talk about it. So if it's not spoken about, does it really exist? So that's the problem. They're manipulating all this because the economy, they don't give two fucks. The economy's dead. We're in inflation and the economy is done. You're having trucker shortages. You're having food costs skyrocket. The economy is fucked. It's done. It's over. So this isn't about the economy anymore. This is nothing more than trying to set up certain people, cause more segregation, to blame this group of people for all their problems, distract you from what's really going on and their real agenda, and keep everybody so occupied as I may die from the fucking blow pop fucking variant, you know, and everybody's so scared shitless. They don't talk to their people. And then what's happening? Vaccine hesitancy numbers are rising in America. We don't like that, but when I hear that, I say this. And then it's like, it's those goddamn anti-vaxxers. Anti-vaxxers, no people questioning. Oh, people are talking to people. That's the problem. Fucking put those masks back on and separate them and have them afraid of their neighbors again. Fuck that. We're going to separate them. Fuck that. We're going to lock them down. Fuck that. We're going to keep them. It's just never ending. At this point, I'm sorry, I don't give a flying fuck about anybody or anything doing with COVID or variants or bullshit, because you know what? The same amount of people die from the flu. And at the end of the day, if you sell me your bullshit, you still haven't even cracked the top 50 of fucking pandemics, but yet you say it's the worst in the world. You haven't even made the top 50. So in reality, what nobody wants to address is everything that's being done behind the scenes, and even out in fucking public, of course, but it's obvious. This is a smokescreen because stupid, weak people will fall for it every time. Then you got the good people that fall for it because they're coerced into it, or they believe this, or they want to trust this and everything else. To each their own. But at the end of the day,
which one is Donald Trump? Because he got vaccinated.
First off, I will say this. I've said from the very beginning, Trump should shut the fuck up about owning the vaccines and let Biden own that, because it's an absolute failure. Secondly, he said he got vaccinated. Have you seen it? But just like any politician said they got vaccinated, did you see it? And do you know what they got shot with? You know as much about them getting injected or when they got injected, or if they really got injected with something.
Why would he say that he got it? But why would he say that he got it if he didn't? What would be his game for that? If he's so... If he's so anti, like, establishment and everything else, then why would he admit that he got vaccinated? Even if he didn't really, why would he say it? That doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense. Donald Trump, it's a vanity thing. He wants to own this vaccine as a success because he rolled it out before the end of his administration. So he's going to hail it still as a win. Now, lately, he's not been talking about the vaccines, which is probably the smartest thing he could do. But at the end of the day, one thing he's consistently said, though I've disagreed with all of that, one thing he's consistently said is it should never be mandated. Exactly.
Oh, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
The rest of it, I wish he would shut up. You could say he did all day, unless you've seen any of these politicians that say so, and they should be forced. They should be forced to do it publicly, and it should be fucking quadruply verified that they're getting that same toxic shit that you're getting sent, because we've had videos of fucking empty syringes. We've had this, we've had that. I believe nothing. That's like saying the TV wouldn't lie to me, the politicians wouldn't lie to me, and the government wouldn't lie to me. Of course not. They're always out for your best interest. Celebrities wouldn't lie to me. Of course not. Music wouldn't lie to me. Of course not. Movies, nope. Big pharma, never. Never. Never, 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 never. I don't believe any of it. I don't. Do I think coronavirus is real? Yes. Like the other fucking thousands of coronaviruses, it's a flu. And just like they change the flu shot every year, but not one flu shot, sinus infection, cold, caused by coronavirus, okay? Coronavirus, the base of COVID, okay? So, not one flu shot can prevent the flu or cure the flu, and they got to change it every year. I never take that shit either. The only time I did take it, I got the flu. Imagine that.
I took it once, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Evil. But then all of a sudden, but something that's so much worse than the flu from the same base, the same coronavirus, we have a cure. But it's not a cure. It's not going to prevent you from getting it. It's not going to stop it. It's not going to cure it, but it could lessen the severity. Oh, but now, whoops. Oh, there's a new variant. Oh, now you got to get more shots. Big Pharma has actually recouped. I saw the number broken down. It was on I went to a liberal site. Well, not a liberal site, a media site, whatever the fuck. Which one is it was one of the ones I hate. I think it was USA Today. It was sometime over the weekend. I don't know, sick. And I looked. Big Pharma has made almost $1 trillion in the last 6 months. And they don't say why, of course. Of course I know why. You see, Trump, the one thing he did do very well, he was an enemy of Big Pharma. So now Big Pharma is recouped in 7 months. What are you recouping all that money from magically? All these, because let's face it, Big Pharma is fucking multi-trillion, if not more. We know that they're the richest fucking entities in the world, and because they keep you sick and they keep selling you the cure and they keep this because they're getting that government money to create this and create that and everything else. So you fucking basically third party it out to a pharmaceutical company and they'll run the experiments where they get themselves immunity. So then you go to the vaccine courts. The vaccine courts don't want to rule on it because the Supreme Court doesn't want to make a decision on it. So it's just a cycle of shit. Nothing ever happens. It's a wonderful cycle. It's a Ponzi scheme, essentially. It's just another way of enriching themselves. And it's just comical to me. So okay. So everything I'm saying is wrong. Good. I hope so. Everything I'm saying is wrong. But the people that, and I'm not talking about you, the other people that have made comments to me like, no. My governor said, oh, okay. The president said, okay. TV shows, movies, fucking what? Politicians I like. And they wouldn't lie to you? Or they know more than you do? It's just, I have a distrust of anything and everything. You have to. And again, I say this all the time because it's funny. I'm going to get an audio clip of it. But fucking, I still think of Reagan's fucking, one of his lines about, the scariest words you'll ever hear from the government. And I'm here to help. Yeah. Everything they touch goes to shit, and people are just blindly trusting him. Oh, they lied to us about COVID, but I trust them for the vaccines. It's the same fucking people promoting it. It's like it's literally it's like the time I think I told you about when I was managing security contracts and I had Altria. And I was still smoking cigarettes at the time, and I was out there smoking with the other district manager, and I said, you see this bullshit about these Juuls getting attacked by Philip Morris and all that other shit? And he laughed at me, and I said, what? He goes, you have Altria, right? I said, yeah. He goes, they're the parent company of Philip Morris and Juul? I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, they literally start this shit. They attack each other. Then you have the international Philip Morris CEO saying that cigarettes should be outlawed. He's the international CEO of Philip Morris USA. Well, not worldwide, excuse me. So it's that same type of bullshit and propaganda. And it's just, it makes perfect sense. How can anybody, but again, my big thing is fruit of the tree. Show me who's being banned, and I'm going to look at them first, because I'm not going to idly buy anything that the media or the radio or politicians tell me. And you show me who's being banned. And what the hell is this asshole's name? He's somebody that I absolutely hate, a whiny, screaming, screeching celebrity, wannabe celebrity liberal. He's out there now he got vaccinated, and now he's vaccinated, and now he's saying that he doesn't believe the this or that and whatever the fuck. I forgot his name, whatever. But it's more of the same to me. So as everybody fucking go ahead.
I was just going to say, the people and you're talking about the idiots who choose to get a vaccine based on what their governor says or whatever, that those people are stupid. Like they should not trust anyone.
Correct.
Kevin and I both felt that it was okay for us to get the vaccine. Again, I'm not pushing vaccination. You do what you want with your own body, and then don't tell me that I can't have an abortion if I want to. Just saying, same thing. My point is that if you're not smart enough to do your own research and decide for yourself how you feel about it, and you rely on a celebrity, a singer, an actor, a governor, whatever, to tell you what to do, then there's something wrong there. Like, that's what I honestly believe. That's
the majority, unfortunately. And I wish there was more people like you. Vic, VHS, he's going to be on our show later. He's vaccinated. And I think he has regrets now, but he got back. It's like, again, you guys
I'm not going to get the booster shots. I'm fucking done with that. Like, I got the vaccine. I felt that was appropriate for my position, that when I go back to school and all that, because I certainly don't want to be have a COVID test every week and all that. And I did it before they said they were going to do that. And I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with me. It's just me that I'm deciding for. But my problem is with all these, like, the booster shots, like you said, of course it's a money-making scheme. Of course it's big pharma and all that. But
our money.
I'm not going to feed into more. Yeah. So you can get the vaccine for free, in air quotes, because nothing in life is free. It's paid for somehow by our taxes, but that's okay. But now you're going to tell me we need boosters? It's the same thing. The first time I got the flu shot, I gave it a try. And I know I was sick as a fucking dog. I don't know if it was the same year that I got the flu. The flu shot. I don't remember. It's too long ago. But like, I'm just like, you know what? And at my state of health and my current position, I'm not going to die from the fucking flu. So I'm not getting it. And I know that you're saying, well, the coronavirus is just like another flu variant. And I get that. And so I tried this vaccine, right? Tried the vaccine. And so I feel that I'm better, like, off for having it for my own peace of mind. But I will not be getting more shots. I'm not lining up to keep getting jabbed. Sorry, not sorry. Bottom line.
And you see, those are the positions I can respect. We could have healthy debate about it all day, but that's what I respect. You're not trying to be a salesperson. And that's why people are like,
absolutely not.
And they're like, you're a salesperson against it. No, I'm not. I'm simply talking about the shit when they go to great lengths to try to bribe you into getting something. And they go to great lengths to indoctrinate you with fucking all the bullshit. And they go to great lengths to silence everybody who speaks out, including their own. And this is including, we literally have, there's so many names. And I'm like, well, this person was like hanging out at the White House with Obama, but now this person's excommunicated because, said that you're better off with hydrochloroquine or zinc or whatever, and don't take the shot. Or lest we forget the Pfizer fucking VP or the former CEO of Pfizer told everybody not to get it. Oh, you're bad now. It's like, and that doesn't give them a pass for creating all the other shit, the poison they put out there in the world. Just saying, none of these people get a pass to me, especially somebody from a vaccine company. If they're going to be a whistleblower, like the dude that created the mRNA thing, he's out there now saying that he advised everybody not to get it. They literally created something that, he got into spiritual discussion and everything else. Like, okay, fine, so be it. But just because you're whistleblowing, you don't get a pass because you willingly participated in it because of money. And that's so I give none of these people a pass. Like the ones that are coming out saying that they don't believe in it and they're not going to recommend it, and whatever. I can respect that a bit more than the ones who whistleblow. But again, when I see these great lengths going to silence these people and erase them from everything, like, what's the problem? What are you so scared of? Again, the same bullshit. And it has nothing to do, but it's similarity, right? It runs parallel. Twitter, in one day, 2 days ago, I think it was like 23,000 accounts total, but all the official accounts, every single state that was doing official reporting, some state accounts that were reporting on audits, election audits, every single one was removed from Twitter. And so you see, when I see things like that, when I see things like talking about this and talking about the medical shit, again, I don't care if it's election fraud now, if it's election fraud 2000, election fraud 1970, election fraud 20 years from now. I don't care if it's COVID vaccine or it's fucking H1N1 vaccine or fucking the vaccines from the 70s. I don't care. When you go to great lengths to freaking bribe and hide, that's where I have the issue, because governments are guilty as shit. And it's just impossible for me to trust any of them. And again, it's just, here's something else, which I find comical, and again, this kind of runs parallel. We did discuss this last night as well, but I love rehashing these conversations with different people. Again, so in one breath, defund the police. Okay, whether people love police, hate police, whatever. So defund the police. And then in the same breath, those same people, we're funding Capitol Police now to be in every state. So you're federalizing police, and your NC brought it up. You're going to defund the local police, the state police, everything else, but you're going to bring the U.S. Capitol Police into every state. Why? So, because they're trying to destroy the separation and the powers of states' rights and everything. You see, this all bleeds into something bigger. And I think that's why I get pissed off, because I'm like, everybody's so hung up on the COVID thing, but I'm talking bigger picture, how it all runs together. Nothing is coincidental, and everything plays into everything else. It is, and like, oh, well, that's a conspiracy theory. No. Just do your research. Again, these same politicians defund the police, but they're going to fund federal police now in every state. Why?
I did not hear that. That's insane.
Yes. Oh, during the wonderful show trial with fake fuck Republicans Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, the warmonger bitch everybody loves now because she's a fucking, they're all establishment whores, but, sitting up there crying about the worst. It's no longer comparable to 9/11, and it's no longer comparable to Pearl Harbor. They now said the attack on the Capitol was the worst attack in American history. Sure. I'm sure 1812 was all fun and games when they burnt down the White House, right? But that's all good. No, there's those fucking few hundred people that stood between their ropes and broke a desk. Yep. And it's the show trials. It's laughable. But again, we're going to extend federal policing into every state. Who are they funded by? The federal government. So do they answer to the governors of those states? Of course not. They answer to the Fed. So the Fed controls. Local cops go door to door, whether it be for fucking vaccination shit, whether it be for gun confiscation, whether it be for this, whether it be for forced testing, whatever it may be. Local police, some will because they're assholes. Others, we're not enforcing that. Fuck you. That's okay. We'll send in the Capitol Police. What the hell does the U.S. Capitol Police have to do with any other state or anything outside the jurisdiction of the U.S. Capitol? I'm sorry.
It makes no sense to me.
Even in Washington, D.C., the Capitol Police, they don't take care of the Smithsonian. They don't take care of the Washington Monument. Right. There's park rangers, park police. So they don't even have that type of authority in their district in D.C., but now they're going to get that authority nationwide, because they're the ones that will do as they're told. They are your federal stormtroopers, and they will do anything and everything they're told. And it's me not being able to talk coherently right now is perfect, because that's how I feel about this whole thing. And and as we get into the minutia of it, right, and we stay focused on one thing, a COVID or this or that. Everything else.
Right.
And it's just, it's like, it never ends. The federal overreach never ends. And here's something that well, actually, no, go ahead and talk, because I'm talking too damn much.
No, that's okay. No, I have not heard about this. Like I just real quick, because it's not hard to find stuff if you know what you're searching for.
Yeah.
And I just see the Capitol Police will open offices in states to investigate threats to members of Congress. So if there are, that's what the I guess the reasoning is, but that makes no fucking sense.
That's why you have
that's not
FBI.
up to the Capitol Police. They're the Capitol Police because they are in the Capitol.
Thank you.
Like, this makes no sense. This is insanity. Insanity. I mean, somebody gets threatened. Like you said, the FBI steps in. Like, I cannot wrap my head around this piece. This is just, I have no words for this either, because this is ridiculous.
And I said that I didn't say Capitol Police because I really thought that was, I never even would have considered that on my top 20 list. But I said, you watch, they're going to start opening up more federal policing offices in every single state to enforce their mandates. I didn't think it was going to be the Capitol Police. That's like saying the fucking like Parks and Recreation Department of DC is opening offices in every state. You know, it's laughable.
It's crazy. It's ludicrous. And like I, obviously, and as you said, like this doesn't necessarily, come up in the mainstream, lamestream, whatever you call it, media, but like, holy shit. It's like, you see this, like, right here, like I literally did a search. All I typed in was, I think, Capitol Police in other states or something like that. And it was like the second article that I found. And so it's not like, I see one from Fox. It says setting up new offices in Florida. And I see to expand outside DC to track threats, and the New York Times. So they've all got it. So it's not like it's being hidden. You know what I mean? It's like
they're not
Times,
hiding it.
It's on Fox. But
They're burying it.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. Well,
this is the first I've heard of it.
That's the funny part about this. Like, they're no longer hiding anything. They just bury it. They bury it with other bullshit. Because they honestly, they believe that nobody's going to pay attention or look, but they're no longer they're blatant now. They're just outwardly just putting it all out there. They're no longer hiding what they're doing, and that's where you have the situation come, and why people talk about the whole, what is it called, a peaceful divorce, or how they claim it, secession. You keep hearing about it,
right?
I said it jokingly, and I really, in my heart of hearts, feel that eventually I still believe a civil war will happen. I think we're already in the midst of it, but it's going to happen. And it's not going to be everybody lining up, take a shot, and then you take a shot, and then they take a shot, and they take a shot, they take a shot. No, it's going to be something very different. But I honestly think that eventually people, and it's already started to happen, people are fleeing to so-called free states. And, which I get in theory, but again, if you're going to, let's say we uproot our lives and we move to Florida, because Florida's not going to enforce mandates.
God help us all. But yes. Okay.
I know. As I dread,
I'd rather be in chains than move to Florida.
Me too. As I dread what's coming. Anyway.
Oh, God.
I know. I think about the heat and the giant fucking bugs that Godzilla should be fighting. But anyway, nevertheless, right? But let's say, and their population has increased exponentially. Texas, which I don't know why, because Texas is far more conflicted, but people moving to Texas, people moving to West Virginia. They had a problem a year ago.
Varieties of people too, not just like, like conservatives. Like you're having the liberal, everyone's like going, like you said, like I just read in the Times, there's something like 35,000 New Yorkers have moved to Florida over the pandemic. I'm like, holy shit, that's insane. And of course, like you said, Texas too. Like Texas is a very, very red state. Well, I mean, it used to be. There's some changes now because there's a lot of people that are coming down there. It's interesting.
Yes, and they're fleeing to these states, right? Because they say we can go here and we can live our lives, and they're not going to enforce it. Great, but here's the thing, okay? So, and I said this. Everybody talks about DeSantis, and I like a lot of the stuff DeSantis is doing. I like a lot of the shit he's doing. All right, but again, I'm not like cheerleading either, but. He made a statement the other day saying that when the mandates come, that he'll never enforce them in Florida, but still recommends everybody go get the vaccine. Again, I'm like, well, well, whatever. Okay, you make your suggestion. Fine. I guess I'd be a hypocrite because I sit here and say, hey, you do you, right? Okay, so fine.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we move to Florida, right? Maybe we go through 2 or 3 houses depending on hurricanes. Okay, so we're there for a couple of years.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So what happens if DeSantis, and there's only 2 terms, what happens if DeSantis doesn't get reelected? Where what happens if he runs for VP with Trump,
Mhm.
and let's say Trump wins and he becomes VP, and who steps up? How do you know that governor is going to enforce those same things? How do you know?
Right.
You're entrusting the body politic with your freedom, and that's another problem. Because you don't think they're going to start targeting these states in these elections. I mean, Florida has been a clusterfuck forever. And again, to DeSantis' credit, he exposed a lot of it and fired people and put people in jail on both sides for electioneering. He's the only real governor to do that, which kudos, good for you. But you think it's not going to happen again? You think that they're not setting up again? As I say this, and I repeat myself for a reason, okay? You have all these problems in our country, all these problems all over the world, all these threats militarily, all these different circumstances going on that are really, really bad right now. Okay, people, you can't make politics if you're blind and deaf and in a vegetative state. Maybe you don't know, but anybody else that's honest with themselves knows we're kind of fucked right now. Okay. Because people are going to take advantage of weakness, and a lot of these evil programs by both parties were put into place to poison pill to destroy what we have and force segregation and everything else, blah, blah, blah. Okay, done. All right, whatever. Okay. So, oh God. I lost my train of thought. Why? It's why I see. I want to make a point, and I get so hyped up I forget what I was going to say.
Well, you were talking about all the people were moving from other states to fleeing to Texas, West Virginia, and Florida, and that but the fact is, once they get to those states, if the governors change, then what's going to happen? Like they're it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else is going to be coming in.
That's it.
There you go.
Thank you. See, Carrie's good. She knows how to give me a recap until I know. I don't listen to me, but it's okay. So again, the world is fucked. And in DC right now, Democrats control the executive, they control the Congress, they control the Senate, and they
still can't pass shit. Which I find amusing. Sorry.
I know. But one of the things they're working on, this is a priority for them. This is a priority, and this has been something that it's an actual. I don't know if it's a bill or just. I think it's a bill actually, but regardless, they're going to move the vote on it. I think when they're off their next vacation, but regardless, this is what they're focused on. This is what they're focused on, and this isn't this. I've said this, and people may know where I'm going with this. This isn't about Trump, right? Nobody here is honestly talking about present day. We don't need to talk about Trump. He's not president. But your government, with your party that you allegedly elected and put in power, wonderful. Along with the establishments on the other side of the uniparty, wonderful. They are working on a resolution and a bill to prevent former presidents, namely Donald J. Trump, from becoming Speaker of the House. Why do you think they're focused on that and nothing else going on? Because it's a joke to them. This is their priority. They are the most juvenile fucking geriatric dinosaurs I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, yes.
That is what they're focused on. These psychotic, the average, the median age of elected official in the Senate or Congress is like 67. Okay. But these lifer scumbags, that's what they're focused on. Trump never said he was going to do that. He laughed about it and said, there's one possibility. That's all he said. That's all he said. Other people floated it out there as an idea. Run for Congress, become a speaker, whatever. Okay, whatever. But they're literally being so petulant, and their time and energy is focused on that. And their show trials for the worst attack in the history of our country, the January 6th terrorist event. This is what they're focused on. They're not focused on your food costs. They're not focused on I know my pen is infrastructure. My Gatorade is infrastructure. My laptop is infrastructure. The shit I may take tomorrow is infrastructure. They're not focused on infrastructure. No. But don't worry, Republicans went along with that.
Well, that's what sucks too, because I know that I was listening to the infrastructure bill that they're trying to get going, and they do have bipartisan support for the chunk that's supposed to be good, and there are good things in that infrastructure bill, things that we really need. As you know, the roads here in Pennsylvania need a lot of fucking help. But the problem, and this is what I said before, it's comical that the Democrats control, the House and the Senate and everything else, but like they can't do anything because members of their own party are like, whoa, let's put a brake on here and take a look. And now those members are being villainized, like by the likes of the stupid, oh God, who I can't fucking stand, of course, AOC. And she's like, and she's a junior senator or whatever the hell she is. I don't even know. And she's like screaming that, way to Congresswoman, thank you. She's screaming about the you're gutting, the party and blah, blah. No, these people are voting their conscience and voting for their constituents and saying, whoa, this is an awful lot of money. And, there's certain things. And so they're, and it's like, you have bipartisan support, you have some Republicans on your side, but if you start changing shit up, then they're going to back out again. So it's give and take. And all they want to do is take. And then their response is, well, when the Republicans were in office, they didn't care. And I'm like, no, but if you keep that stupid little, pessy mentality, well, they did it first, then, it's going to continue forever. Like, this is ridiculous. And so and how do we change the shit show that is Washington, D.C.? Like, there needs to be term limits. Like, holy fuck, you cannot be, in Congress for your entire fucking, 50 years of your, adult life. Like, that's just insanity. Like, it makes no sense there. You can't do that as president. So why can Congress people do that? That makes no sense either. And then I know she's your favorite person in the world, Nancy Pelosi, but I just heard that she called maybe Kevin, I lost his last name, that the head dude for the Republicans, Kevin McCarthy, is it?
He's a scumbag.
She called him a moron. I don't know, but she called him a moron. And I'm like, so that's professional, because now everyone's pissed about that. I'm like, it's just a little petty shit, but still, it's like, you people are supposed to be like the paragons of the government, right? You're the ones that are supposed to be making sure that everything is running the right way. And you're supposed to be, like role models and growing up when I was in school and learning about all this, it's like, wow, they're like, and now I look back and I'm like, wow, talk about indoctrination, and it's just like, so how can you can't come at the Republicans. You can't, if you're a Democrat, and you can't come at the Democrats if you're a Republican, because you're all guilty of the same fucking sins.
Yes.
It's disgusting.
The whole thing sickens me. These are the worst of the worst of society, and they're in elected office, and they yield all the power. They wield it all. They are in control of you, our lives, everything else. They are the power structure. That make everybody happy? Like, it's I don't know. It sickens me to no end. It sickens me to no end that this has just continued to go on and on and on and on, and we see the same bullshit. Alleged differences during elections. They're all the same. The ones that they attack the most, the ones they want to silence and censure, are the ones that maybe are speaking some truth and trying to actually do something. So we must demonize them. We must say that they're the worst things in the world. I know, they're the enemy, because there's people trying to change it from within. But as we both agree, I get what they're trying to do with the Republican Party, but we said it here first: Patriot Party. It should have became a thing. Mm-hmm. It should have became a thing, and there should have been a real different type of populist third party. I know. Well, there's libertarians. Fuck them. Fuck the libertarians. Okay, they're the libertarians and the Greens take votes away from the other one. They all serve a purpose. All right, they're all in on it together. Okay, so stop thinking that you're voting for something different. I'm going to vote libertarian.
But Dan, that's a terrible thing to say, because I mean, if people say we need to have more than a two-party system, and if you keep saying the bad things about the libertarians and the Green Party, then we'll never have more than a two-party system. That's the shit that I get. I'm like, that's when I say, like, I'm never gonna. I didn't vote for. There was a libertarian or whatever in the last election or whatever the hell she was. I don't remember. It was a woman. I know that. And one of my friends voted for him. I'm like, why did you vote? That's like throwing your vote away. And he was giving like, a vote, because I want to show. Yeah, I'm like, you absolutely did throw your vote away. Whatever. Just make up your own mind. But like, okay, so you voted your conscience. Okay, but you definitely just threw it away. So just keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
But tell me what the libertarians stand for. Identity politics, Green New Deal. Okay, but
They stand for hands-off government. Like, they're
Sure.
more so than the Republicans. They're not supposed to,
Of
like
course.
leave my shit alone.
Absolute crock of shit. People still believe that lie. They used to. They used to, and I didn't care about them then either because I knew they were a crock of shit and they're funded. Like the big two fund the little two to take votes away from the other side. That's the political game, And if you think differently, you're very naive. That's why the Constitution Party never gets any traction because they don't benefit either, and their political platform is the Constitution. Pretty simple, right? Okay. So whether you agree with it all or disagree is irrelevant, but their literal political platform is the Constitution. Do you see them in debates? Do you see them on ballots? No. Write them in. Yeah, because that'll win it. Come on.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating because if I say the People's Party, isn't that like a communist thing? I love how they got to pervert terminology, right? The People's Party, the Chinese, or the whatever, the People's Democratica, I think North Korea and China and shit. But no, in reality, they're just, co-opting a term. But that's what we actually need, And again, it's... I'm trying not to do the big yelling now. I'm saving that for the next show. But believe me, because something happened today, and I'm going to try to pull that video up. Oh, you would love this, but I really, I feel if I talk about it, I'm going to scream like a madman. So I'm going to do you the solid and save it until later. Yes. And it happened today. Nobody talks about it, but it really, really happened. And I'm just like, the anger, the anger, it's boiling over, But did you hear? I spoke about this last night as well. But did you hear about how I spoke about the feminists back in the 60s and 70s. They protested and they scored a victory because only men had to sign up for the draft to selective service and not women. And now part of the NDAA that's never been not signed for 60 years in Congress, the Democrats voted to now make women have to sign up for the selective service ages 17 to 24. So there's your fucking equality. Congrats.
Hey, listen, I am perfectly okay with that. I mean, I know obviously I'm beyond that age range, but if you think that it's okay that men have to sign up and financial aid is based on you signing up, so you can't get any like FAFSA
it's a
help
felony if
college.
You don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I try explaining it to the boys and they always get very upset, but I mean, and I don't blame them. Yeah, absolutely. You should be able to draft girls too. Sorry. Fair's fair. You want equal treatment? There you go.
Right? You wanted that equality. Congrats. So some of the older feminists are very upset about this. I'm like, but we voted for Biden to make these like you dumbass. Like you got your equality, baby. Woohoo.
I mean, and like, if they're going to argue that, that's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry, again, and then they'll start saying, oh, women still aren't being treated equally. And I've had a lot of friends who say the same thing. And I'm like, you know what? I can't really speak about that. I'm sure that there are women, I'm sure there are situations in certain careers where, it is based on, I guess, I've never seen that because I've never been in a career where, it can be based, like I've always been in, mostly always been in teaching where it's a, set salary schedule. And there's no, the only way that it's decided is based on, years of service and credits and stuff like that. So I can't speak to, guys, making more or anything like that in my particular industry. But I do say that if you are fighting for that kind of equality and for the right to be treated the same, the right to work to be firefighters or police women or whatever, sorry, it all goes together, then you should be able to be drafted too. But there is a Republican congressman who freaked out. I don't remember who it was now, but he was like, I think it's that dumb fuck Josh Hawley. I can't stand him. I want to punch him in the face every time I see him. I think he's the one that like flipped out and is like, no, we have to protect our women. And I'm like, oh, get the fuck out and back this bus up, bitch. Sorry. No. Anyhow, that's my point.
I just, it is what it is. I just think it's funny, you know, like, hey, congrats. I don't know what to say, you know, I just really don't know what the hell to say. Like, what do you expect? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell do you expect? Whatever.
Well, it's the same people. It's the same people. The same, women who, and this. And I think it's a relatively small amount. At least I hope it is. And I've said this many times, but I'm going to put the disclaimer out there that a lesbian friend of mine told me that I'm the least feminist female she's ever known, and I said, "Good, I'm glad, thanks." Because I know that Kit was talking about this the other day. Like it's a matter of, there's certain common courtesies and manners that people have, right? And like, hold the door open for someone, like whether you're a man or a woman, like, I'll leave, I'll hold the door open for whoever's behind me. Apparently to some people, well, if that's so offensive that a man happened to hold the door for you, then, okay, well then now you can go, be a grunt and carry a gun and, be in battle. And then this is what I say to the boys too, when I tell them they have to sign up for the selective service. And I love how they call it selective service. And they're like, what's that? I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. And so I said, well, here's the bottom line. If you wind up, because women can be, actually can be in the grunts, right? Basically they can be, because that was something they fought for too, because they were in before, the drafting thing, that they could join the army. They finally were able to, when I say the army, I'm sorry, I mean the armed forces. They were finally able to be in combat. Like that was relatively recently. That was like in the 2000s, right? I think 2012 or 15 or something like that.
Very recently.
It took a long time for that. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's not like women have served in military, mostly as
Forever.
nurses. Right, forever. So you don't think they got shot at? Like, I mean, hey, I think, let them, get the training they need or whatever. But it's just, I'm sorry, I'm babbling. It just bothers me that, like, the whole equality thing, and I'm for it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I should be treated differently because I'm a woman. But I mean, you can't pick and choose. That's the bottom line, ladies. Sorry. Like, if you want to be treated equally, then that's part of it.
Yeah. I completely agree. But I see the outrage, and I'm just thinking, and it is funny because it is some of the Republicans that are speaking out against that. Not just like not just what's his name, Hawley. There are some saying that no, even men and women shouldn't be forced to do it with threat of a felony. Like, I get it, okay.
I mean, it hasn't been a draft since Vietnam, but
yeah. But why are they? It's funny though. Why are they so focused on this all of a sudden? Think, people. Because I mean, but yeah, it's kind of comical, and whatever. It's my thing. It's just so aggravating. The whole selective outrage is aggravating to me. Like, you're upset over these little things, but what the fuck? Like, I don't get it. You vote for this, allegedly. You vote for this. I just, okay.
Yeah.
Like, cool, I found the video. Oh, that's good. I found the video of Fauci versus Fauci.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great. That's a funny one. Anyway, but whatever. So what else is on your mind?
Well, I started to mention it, and I don't want to bore anyone because I still remember.
Oh no! Did they kick me, or are you just you're muted? Hang on. Okay. Carrie accidentally muted. Now I unmuted her, and she's not there. I think you disappeared, Carrie. Yeah, she disappeared. Probably another. Can people still hear me? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Oh yeah, you know why? Because this. All right, this is your fucking shit show. Yes.
Craps.
So I had tried to mute myself briefly so I could pour myself a soda, it's a seltzer, thank you, that was like, fizzy. So I was trying to be a little professional here so people wouldn't hear me go like pop the can open and all that. And then I could not unmute myself at all. And then I finally got it unmuted. And then you asked me what else is on my mind. And I started to talk, and then I realized it was muted again. And I had to literally close the entire app down, force shut it in order to come back in and get it to work. And why is it that every fucking time I turn my camera the wrong way, my phone the wrong way, it suddenly turns my camera on? I'm like, I've said turn off camera. Why is it if I turn my phone and it shifts, like, put the camera back on? Fuck you. Stop telling me. I hate this fucking app. I hate this.
Yep. You're good. Okay, so go ahead.
So anyhow, so what I was trying to say was that I know that this is something that I've brought up before, and people get like over a year ago, I guess, someone I guess made a comment one time. I don't know. I never saw the comment. Someone else that I was doing a show with at the time told me that someone said it, that they were, I guess, tired of hearing me talking about it. But I'm sorry. This is what I know, and this is who I am. And I know towards the beginning of the show, I think someone asked something about school and starting in the fall and all that. So one thing I'm going to say, and I don't really, I am definitely an anti-masker. So I'm not happy about the thought of having to do that. But something that I find very wrong is that a lot of schools, urban and rural schools. I'm sure there are some, suburban and rural schools. I'm sure there are some urban schools, but I don't have any honest experience with any of those really, except for New York City. A lot of school districts will have options where if you don't want to be in person, you can do like a cyber school. I know that the high school I graduated from, Tunkhannock, they have their own, like they have actually created their own like cyber academy. I think Delaware Valley might do that too now. I'm not sure. I think they have their own. If not, there's also a cyber academy in the state of Pennsylvania that, I know that there's like I think it's the Commonwealth Academy or something like that. So I know a lot of schools do have options like that because there are some, students for whatever reason before COVID, I'm talking about, who, would benefit more from something like that, or, perhaps, excuse me, I'm sorry. For whatever reason, whether it be a medical reason, like they might be actually performers traveling and need, to be able to access school online, or, like we know that there's, incidents of bullying in the high school and middle school kids can be horrible. And, for whatever reason, parents want to keep their kids home. So New York City never had anything like that. But, with COVID, of course, everyone went, remote. And now New York City has said, Mayor de Blasio has said very vehemently that there will be no online remote option at all starting in the fall. None, period. No, fuck you, come to school, basically. And so there are a lot of studies out there that say that kids are better when they're in school. And I definitely agree with that. Teaching online is not easy. It's not fun. It's hard to engage with the kids. The kids are a disaster, like as far as getting stuff done. Not all of them, but it's difficult. My problem, however, is with the fact that I just read this article. So there's a group of, I think it's called the Bronx Parents Association or something like that, but it's not just parents from the Bronx. It's from all 5 boroughs that are getting involved because there have been a lot of parents who want a remote option in the fall. And, de Blasio is basically like, not listening to any of them. So, you started this, the fear of the COVID virus and all that stuff, right? And now you're like, no, it's perfectly safe to cram the kids back into classes, wearing masks. And let me tell you something. And some schools are very good at enforcing the mask wearing. And then other schools, like, forget it. Like, it's a joke. And it's like, you try, get the kids to do it. If they refuse, if you call someone, like, then it's like, they take the kid out as a disrupt. It's like, it's a mess. I've heard this from friends. So other than the difficulty in enforcing something like that, and also, I don't want to do it myself. There becomes an issue with some students who are legitimately endangered by just about anything. They did the story about this girl who had childhood cancer. And she, even though she's just off of chemotherapy now, her white blood cell count is still way off. And so, bottom line, she's not a well young woman. I think, I don't know if she's I think she might be like 15 or something like that. And she has two siblings, one who is 12 and one who's younger. So mom made a lot of sacrifices in keeping them home. And because, obviously the daughter is very, ill or whatever. I don't know if she can be vaccinated, but even if she can be, and the 12-year-old is vaccinated, so I think maybe the daughter is. But as we found out, being vaccinated doesn't necessarily, protect you completely. But the little child, the younger sibling, is too young, right? And so, there's a lot of opportunities if they all go to school. Like she could get very sick. Like she has a legitimate, like she could get incredibly sick. She could very, very easily die. Not just from COVID, from like anything pretty much, right? But there's no remote option. The only thing that's even close to that in New York City is what they used to call it, like in schools in Pennsylvania, is homebound. So like if a student is ill, breaks a leg or whatever the case may be, and has to be home for a while, they can be schooled. They have like a tutor who comes out and will visit the child, during the week, and like go over all the lessons and help them like and keep up. There's only 1,100 students citywide who have any kind of homebound instruction. There used to be over 1 million students. That number has dropped significantly since COVID. I think it's down to something like 800 and some thousand now. That's a huge drop. A lot of people pulling their kids out of the public school system, moving, as we said. But this this wonderful, homebound tutoring in New York City is literally 5 hours a week. So the school day is 6 hours and change, if you take away lunch and like say gym or whatever. So you're getting less than a full day of school a week. And it's probably all at one time. So I was like, this is insane. And so parents like, who have children who are very ill, or, for whatever reason, if they maybe think that the schools suck, which a lot of them do, want the remote option. And de Blasio is like, no. And so I don't understand if schools like, here in Pennsylvania can provide that option, why can't the cutting edge, school district in the United States, the biggest, and brightest and like, most cutting edge district, be able to pull their heads out of their asses and provide that? And it's just more like, I want to know, like, I guess what I want to bring this up is, and it really, to me, has nothing to do with COVID. It's really more of, what do you think about, so a lot, generally the people who tend to want to keep their kids out of school tend to be, at least since COVID hit, have been, the majority have been, minority, families. So I'm just wondering what you might want to pop in as far as your point, if you have one, about why, like in a progressive liberal city like New York, they wouldn't want to try to reach out and help the minority populations that they claim that they are most concerned with. So I'm just, so I'm just wondering what you think their done by design ulterior motive may be in that respect.
Well, of course that's the case, but it's wordsmithing. When you hear progressive, change it up to what they really are: regressive. Progressives have nothing. Believe me, they do not care about any of that stuff, cutting edge, helping people, as shown time and time again in their hypocrisy. So the ones that say that we're for you, we're looking out for you, they're doing the exact opposite. And they figure that way, if they force more people to come back in, offer no ulterior motives, then they're going to blame it on something else. They're going to blame it on this. It adds to the story, the fiction, the fable. It adds to the reasoning. Oh, we have a bad outbreak now. We have more cases, and it must be because of the unvaccinated. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're not giving anybody any options. You're not respecting their rights. Yeah. You're not respecting the will of the parent or the people or the child. Nothing. No. We're looking out for you, but you have to do this. And then when said thing happens, they could use it to just kind of play into every other narrative. You see? Mm-hmm. So it's, unfortunately, It's just that simple. Now, my opinion, they want to kill off as many as they possibly can, and they want to have a mask and a guise basically to disguise what they're doing. But that's, at the end of the day, the simplest answer sometimes is they just want to use it as cover, and they want to hold you back. They want to be your little dictators, and they want to use it as an excuse in the future for future cases. That's it.
And I've said this before, and I happened to look at the chat room, and James said, "Do you think it'll go hybrid?" Definitely not. I mean, I think it. Well, if De Blasio has his way, it won't. But there may be, depending, because like De Blasio is one of those mayors who likes to quote follow the science, end quote. And so he might get nervous, but he has nothing left to lose. He's a 2-term mayor and he's done now. So
and that's what's most dangerous. You got a long time left.
Yes. And so I think that one of the problems is that, you have it makes me angry because, parents, the school system is supposed to educate every child to the best of their ability. And so this, if students might have an IEP, those who don't know, that's an individual education plan. It's for students who might have some learning or emotional disabilities, whatever. It's meant to, put, supports in place to help them. If it's done right, it's wonderful. Most schools don't do it right. It's a shame. But so parents and my mom, I had a brother I never knew. He died before I was born, but he was born physically handicapped. He was couldn't move on his own accord, but he was brilliant. And so my mom had to fight. Now, this is a long time ago. This is, like I said, before I was born. She had to fight tooth and nail to get educational services for him because he was due, he's allowed to be educated, but because he was homebound, completely, he couldn't get out of bed. It wasn't there was no option there. That they, she had to fight for that then. And I think that it should not, education in this country, they tout how, we have such a great education system and it's free. And not every school in this country is like this. And I just get very angry with New York City because it's a nightmare, shit show, disaster. There are some good schools, but it's hard to get into them. So, the thing is that you're failing your people. And
they know they are.
Say, well, yes. And I know that you're going to say, and I agree with you on this, that they're going to say that, the thing is that you have to, these people don't want, an educated populace is a dangerous populace. We know that, right?
Of course.
But mandatory public education has been around in this country for 300 years in some states, anyhow. And it took a while for all the states to get on board, but the first one I think was Massachusetts. And I think that was in late 1600s. And then, every school finally got, every state finally came along. And I think the last one was in 20 or 30. I looked this up not too long ago. I don't remember. So, I mean, if you're going to make education compulsory, then you have to provide, real, resources from real education. We pay taxes for that. So tell me why, something as, I mean, it may not be that simple, but you have almost 100,000 teachers in New York City. I don't know what's left. I'm sure a lot of them are leaving. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks because they don't generally send in their resignations until the end of August. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, there should be, it's, and especially if you're going to cram kids and the city schools are already super overcrowded. Not all of them are overcrowded. And I don't know if I talked about this in one of the shows. So New York City is dealing with issues with trying to keep the mandated 3 foot of social distancing and all that stuff, right? Because the classes are overcrowded. And so there are 3 types of schools. There's regular schools that can handle it without a problem. And then there's tier 1 and tier 2 schools. And tier 2 schools can handle the 3 feet of social distancing with a little extra help and using some spaces that maybe weren't used before for classes and stuff. Like, for instance, in maybe using part of the gym or the auditorium, things like that. And the UFT, don't get me started on that. They are going to help those schools with that. And then there's the tier 1 schools, and they're the ones that are super fucked because they're the ones that were already overcrowded. We're already using every available space. and now are really fucked. And the DOE, and this makes them even more fucked, the DOE is coming in and is stepping in and is going to help them do their schedules. My school is a tier 1 school. We are a very small school. We only have 700 students. Last time I checked, it might be less now, from grades 6 to 12. But the building was never meant to be a school. It was an old welfare building. They remodeled it, sort of. We don't even own the building. We rent the building from a landlord. There's a whole host of problems. But other than those, the bottom line is that we don't have a gym. We don't have an auditorium. We don't have a library anymore. We have a library space, but it's not used as a library. It's already used as classroom space. Literally, closets are being used as classrooms. I literally, before the pandemic, I had a class in the back music office, and you can ask Elias how small that is. I had 10 kids crammed back in the back office, like literally. And then like if the music teacher came in to try to get something, he could not move because it was so tight with kids. I mean, this is the insanity. So now the DOE is going to step in and try to help with that and do like this. They're talking split scheduling, meaning, some kids go for like morning and then some kids start in the afternoon, whatever. So, but and this is again de Blasio's issue because he pulled this shit, like didn't have any plan for reopening last year, and we didn't wind up going back going back to school, not necessarily in the building, until like the third week of September. But he nothing's been said. There's no help being given. It's the end of July. We have 4 weeks left, and then like we start a little later this year because Labor Day is a little bit later, and then there's a Jewish holiday. I don't know which one, Rosh Hashanah, I think, is first, and so the teachers don't go back until the Thursday after Labor Day now, and the kids will come back on the 13th of September. That's not that far away in order to figure out the scheduling issues that are going to come up with. You're going to have how many kids, how many teachers? You're going to need more teachers unless people are willing to work extra hours. Like this, none of this is being taken care of. My principal's hands are tied. She can't do anything about it right now. But my problem is that, again, this is all supposed to be handled and all supposed to be for the good of the kids. And the kids that are dealing with this the most are the students who are minority students who are in the most crowded neighborhoods, generally worse neighborhoods like the one my school's in. And so you are keeping them from getting a real education. And it doesn't even matter. There's a parent screaming, like, wanting to be able to, her son in Queens wanted to, let him repeat his 10th grade year so that he gets caught up. And the school's like, no, because, that screws up your graduation quota. You have to have a certain percentage every year graduate or you're screwed. So like, of course, you're just going to push people through all the time. I'm positive that this is not just a New York City problem. I'm sure things like this are going on in other schools across the nation, and you can't put federal mandates on things and be like, you have to have X amount of percentage of students graduate or whatever. If you don't have, like, you're just hurting the kids. And now you are creating a huge social problem, because if these students don't, graduate, or, if they drop out, or if they graduate and still can't read, and that happens all the time. And I've seen it happen first person here, not me. I mean, like, I've seen it in the actually happen. So the problem is now you have a populace who is uneducated. Yes, maybe more easy to control, but is now also needing a lot more government assistance. And so, yeah, I know that's part of the whole plan, right? Keep them, dependent on the government. But at what point does this break the bank? You're talking about reopening the economy, right? And it's something that Blasio is screaming about too. Like, we no remote schools because we need everybody back in. We need the economy to start. New York City's open for business. I'm like, funny, because I think it was Twitter just closed I think they had an office in New York, and they just closed, and they're gone. And I think some of the other big, tech companies too, Google has a big office there in New York and all that. And they're still like, not sure about what we're doing here. And, and you talked about it too, Dan. Like, this is all tied together. This is really all tied together. I know I feel like I'm going on this weird,
no, you're good
route here, but But like you talked earlier about inflation, about things that, prices in the grocery stores. I literally just read an article on Channel 16 that said that, people are now having a hard time getting seafood because there's the workforce is bad. Like, so Cooper's Seafood Restaurant in Scranton, famous, from the Office fame, right? But like they were just saying that they usually get like 50 bags. I don't know how big a bag is of clams in. Like when they do the orders, they can only get 2. Like they're lower to like only 10% of their normal like lobster purchases or whatever. So you have an uneducated populace, right? Who are basically relying on the government to keep them going, and just enough to keep them okay. You're screaming about how there's there's all these jobs available, nobody wants to work. Hello? So you're biting yourself in the ass because you're talking about getting the economy going, but yet you're keeping people uneducated and happy enough with the government assistance, but yet you say you need there's all these job openings, but nobody to fill them. You are creating your own cyclical monster, and you're too fucking stupid to see it. Wow, that was a really long way to get to my point, but I got there.
It was good though. And regardless of the overarching plan and agenda and the reason why they do what they do, you know what? It's almost irrelevant, because at the end of the day, it's criminal what they do and how they operate. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's so much I could say about that, but it's just wrong. But they, again, these are the same people that I talk about. And again, I say these things for a reason. They're the first ones to point their fingers and call you a Nazi. Yet they treat handicapped, they treat like the weaker elements of society. So they say, just like Hitler did. Yeah. And it's hold them down, hold them back. That's to your earlier point. So it's criminal. Just all the shit that they're doing. And the continuously dumbing down the populace and dumbing down the masses, it's working. That's the thing. It's working. And that's what's sad about it. And now it's like, I always got mad when they blame all the teachers, because again, it's like saying every cop is a bad cop because there are asshole cops, right? Well, every teacher is bad because there are asshole teachers. But apparently there's not enough of the asshole teachers in the world that are not towing the line. So they're going to force it on you in other ways. They're going to force their narrative and their agenda onto you, regardless of what the teachers do.
Right.
It's a way to give a fuck you to them, because we're gonna fuck the student and the family alike. We're gonna fuck the teachers as well.
Yeah. And James was asking in the chat room about like the IEP population at my school and all that. And I mean, we have we have a fairly large IEP population because, unfortunately or fortunately, students with IEPs come with more funds. And so I'm sure that most people understand that, like, students, there's funding per student, right, at schools. So like, for instance, and I'm just going to write numbers off the top of my head here, speak numbers off the top of my head. I don't know what they really are. I know that it's in the thousands of dollars, depending on the school. So one normal student, normal air quotes, one regular education level student in a school might fetch, let's say, $5,000 of aid for that school. A special education student, one who has an IEP, is going to get like $10,000 because they get extra services. So there's a lot more money involved when you need to have like the social workers in there, and you have the IEP, the special ed teachers, and there's speech therapists, and whatever the case may be. So my principal has been told by the superintendent of our district that she can turn students away, but she never does. And I know part of it is the funding. That's good, but she does it. And my history, Dan, I actually have respect for this particular principal in a lot of the things that she does. Not everything, but that's normal. But I respect in that we have so many students who are not identified with IEPs. And that's something that you have to start pretty much in middle school. And just because our school is grade 6 to 12, it doesn't mean all of our students are with us from grade 6 through 12. Some are, but it's like 6, 7, 8 is middle school. And then students leave in 8th grade, after 8th grade, to go to other high schools. we also get new students coming into our high school in ninth grade. And so if we get a student, say in ninth grade, who like clearly, and I can think of a young man who it was a great kid and very, very intelligent, but like in hindsight, my God, I'm betting, because he hasn't been diagnosed or anything, I'm betting he's extremely high on the autism scale. Like he's like kind of out there, but like high functioning too. And he, I'll never forget, I had him, and like, it was just like I'm looking at some of the things that, he's, talking to me about, and I'm just like, wow, he needs like a lot of like, there's something here that's not like, it's not connecting. But by the time they're in high school, it's incredibly difficult to get an IEP because there's like so much like paperwork, and it's not just paperwork, but there's so many like tests and like things that have to be done, and like it's insane. I'm not a special ed teacher. I just know that I've had friends who are special ed teachers who are like, oh my God, like talking about all this, everything that has to be done in order to get services to the student who deserves it. And needless to say, the student did not get them. Graduated as a regular ed student. But what my principal does is she sees like, IEP students bring in more money. And so, more money can get you like a social worker, or not, that's not the good example, like not a really good example, not a social worker, but say like a speech pathologist or something to come to the school. Well, now you can pay that speech pathologist, speech therapist, money. You can get one full time at your school because you have more special ed students. And just because that money may not one particular special ed student, it could help other students. You know what I'm saying? And so she looks at that, and she does do a really good job. Like we work with our special ed population, like we really, 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 we have really good teachers who really work with the kids, and we have a pretty darn good graduation rate for our special ed students. Our regular ed students, like our whole graduation rate is generally about 80% in that range, which sounds terrible, but our graduating class is usually only like 100 kids. Just keep that in mind. So we usually get about 80 of them to graduate on time. But like New York City's graduation rate is 70 something percent. So we're actually better than that. And there's some schools that are even lower than that. So not the best, not the worst school, and things are in the right place, but it's really, really difficult. And I'm just looking quickly at the chat room. James has asked, I think he means, do we have students with physical disabilities? And yes, we have had students with physical disabilities. There's not a lot of them, but we have had some. Yeah. So it's just, it just frustrates me because, like I said, this whole tie into the economy right now, and everyone's like, oh, we got to open back up and everything else. I'm like, yes, you do have to open back up, but schools, you know what? And that's the other thing. It really pisses me off. Schools are looked at as babysitting services because, and I understand, like, parents need to work, I mean, this started, and Kevin and I have looked at this. I think it was started in the 70s, mid to late 70s, when more women started going into the workforce rather than being the stay-at-home mom situation. Hey, I don't make any judgments. Like I could not do both. I don't want to be a mother. I just have no desire. But like if I was a mother, I would try my best to be able to do what I could for the better, the best for my child. But like it's difficult, like especially in like expensive places where both people need to be working. Like you can't afford to not have a job. Or if you're a single mother, right? It's really difficult to raise your child, or a single father to raise your child if you aren't working. And so, it boggles my mind that they keep saying that, oh, well, we need to open, the kind of schools and that'll restart the economy. Okay. So schools were actually open in New York City for anyone who wanted to come. And we had very few students showing up. Mostly chose to stay remote. So that didn't help the economy. So that pissed de Blasio off, which is why he's like, no, they're all going to be open. There's no remote option. Because, you got to see New York City's back, like, I'm like, okay. So I'm reading these stories about how Midtown is still like a ghost town, and Wall Street and all that area. Like there's still like, there's tons of empty buildings, which never had happened before. So, I mean, again, if you are not fixing, maybe this is where we need to stop and take a look at the educational problems in this nation so that we can see, what, there's another underlying problem here. It's not just reopening the economy. It's not that easy. You don't have people who are ready to take jobs. And some jobs pay shit and should pay more. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I wouldn't want to be a lobster fisherman for $7.25 an hour. That's a rough fucking job. And it's, and how do you live? If you're fishing for lobster, that means you're living along the coast somewhere, which means the prices are sky high. We were in Nantucket for a week. Holy fucking shit. There wasn't a shack on that island that was selling for less than $1 million. A shack. So like, I don't know. And we talked to some of the locals and like how they managed to make ends meet. And I'm like, my God, like one person had been there, like the one captain of the sailboat that we were on, he'd lived there for 40 years. That's how he was still managing it. It's like, so if you don't start educating your students, and you don't have to fucking go to college either. That's another thing that pisses me off. There are plenty of careers out there that don't need college that we need. Right. And you can go to tech schools, trade schools, whatever. You can learn on the job some of these things. Right. But like, you need to start paying your populace more. You need to start helping them though first, right from school, like from, and the shitty education, not all schools are like this, but like there are too many that are giving a shitty education. And then we have a shitty workforce who say, fuck it. Like if I can see this and I'm nobody, like, why can't, like, all these people who claim that they need the, okay, I get it. Like, you're trying to keep a dumbed down populace, but you can't keep a dumbed down populace and keep the fucking economy going. Now, can you? Oh my God. Sorry.
Why are you apologizing?
I didn't know that this is where I was going to go with all of this. It's great because I'm talking to you, and this is why I like the show, because it's a conversation. I start saying something, and again, if you're following me, it's probably hard to follow me because it's kind of circuitous and I go all over the place, but it's me, like this is my crazy brain. We talk about, you talk about the maestro, right? And like, so he looks at a problem, he kind of goes like zoop, and he figures it out. Like I'm like boom, and I'll eventually end up at the same spot. I'm all over. And I never really thought about this. So I'm talking to you, I'm talking out loud about this, and I'm starting, like, my brain's processing it and coming up with like, holy fuck, this is the problem. So if I could do that, in, I don't know, I'm probably been ranting for 15, 20 minutes. I apologize. Then why can't our elected illustrious leaders be able to figure this shit out and do something, And I mean, I know we don't want the federal government dipping into anything and touching anything and everything else, but like, then like local government, somebody needs to step up and fix the shit that's going on in our schools. Like there's your crux of your problem. It's the crux of most of your problems that we have right now.
Exactly. You're 100% right. And in most of the time they do know these things. They just choose to ignore. It has to kind of roll downhill, as they say, right? And create a bigger problem. And again, your school isn't on that top tier list, so inevitably it was going to come your way because they have to just basically engulf the whole. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And
I'm disappointed. This makes you disappointed. And like, the older I get, the more my eyes are opened. And there are a lot of good things about this country. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I do love this country. I think that there's, a lot that's great, but the way things are being run and the government is really spoiling it and really making it dirty. You know what I mean? Like I'm not proud of being an American too much anymore. I'm really not. Like I'm not embarrassed or anything like that, but I don't feel the connection that I used to have to this country anymore. I really don't. And that's a damn shame. And I can be patriotic, but like when I see all the shit that's happening, it's like, why? I mean, I love the United States. I love that there's so many varieties, like so many resources, so many beautiful natural, like, places. I mean, like there's a lot, like this country has a lot of different like things to offer. It's so cool. You go from one state to another and see things that, like, wow. But the way it's being run and the people who, like some of the people who are in it up higher, I'm just like, ugh, I'm just over it.
And that's, I think, what I've been bringing up more and more and more is the fact that we become a joke. We become a parody of ourselves. And not that there's necessarily any other good countries out there that you say, hey, I want to aspire to be more like them. And some things, yes, I still think we are the best. But at the same time, what we're doing is criminal,
Yeah.
It's beyond criminal. It's inhumane. It's devious. It's deceptive. It's corrupt. It's broken, and that is becoming the norm. You know, it's bad enough when you talk about all our foreign wars and our fucking, you know, our federal agencies that create wars and all the shit that we've done. But now it's just affecting the everyday people too. You know, and I don't know how much you know about MK Ultra.
I feel like I know that. Why
you probably know the term.
To me?
Yeah, you probably know the term. It's very. It's some bad shit, right? It's basically it's brainwashing. These are all declassified docs. I'm not saying anything that isn't known. It's something the CIA did by basically brainwashing people and then controlling them, and they could literally just do something to trigger them and get them to do whatever they want them to do. It's very psychologically horrible.
Gotcha.
Well, you know, and we could have a discussion about that one day. But you know, basically now I believe I've said this to NC on the last Thursday show. It's MK Ultra used to be something that was, you hear about it, it's scary, you know, it's done, it's been declassified, but you know, I'm sure they don't do it anymore. Of course not. Now they do it on a grand scale. They do it on every day with anything, everything, with how they control what you see on your phone, what you see on your TV, what you see on your computer, what you read, what you hear. They're able to trigger and generate reactions and actually manipulate somebody to either kill themselves, harm family, kill others, you know, accept the mediocrity, accept the evil. Like there's so many different levels. They've turned that into a mass casualty event, essentially, or a mass indoctrination event, and they do it every single day now. And the education system was used as a catalyst to breed this indoctrination long before you were ever on this earth. But long before we ever were on this planet, they began the systematic destruction of the education system, okay? But that was only one element. That was their first attempt to try to do it in a grander scale, which they're successful at. And again, it's not the fault always of the teachers. That's what people need to understand. It's the system as a whole. Because a teacher is a very important person, because at the end of the day, it can only do so much. Because it's like fighting the system, which you know about. You know, the system inevitably controls the flow, right? Well, now they've moved on. And they just continue to push the limits of what people will take. Like I said before, and I say this, and again, I don't give a backstory as to why I say the things I say, but I will here is a simple fact that when I tell you that terrorism wasn't working anymore, so they moved on. Mass shootings weren't working anymore, so they moved on. And what did they move on to? A disease.
COVID.
But it worked. And now they're going to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And it's not the topic, it's the what am I trying to say? It's not the topic. It's not what you're seeing and what you're living. It's the methodology and the planning behind it. It's the agenda behind what you're seeing, because the ones putting it out there, the ones controlling your school system, Carrie, you know, fucking over those students, those parents, those teachers, you know, it's not the administration that you see. It's the ones above, the funders, the financiers, the true power brokers, education, all these things, they all play into the cycle, all of it. And it's just another methodology, another way of controlling people. That's it. At the end of the day, it's just another control system, another destructive, evil control system. And this country is perpetrating it, and we try to perpetrate it and push it off into the world. And it's again, it's funny. I bring it up just as context, but I think we spoke about this. I'll never ever forget one of it was the first, I guess, interview after Trump became president. They did it with the Bill O'Reilly in the Super Bowl halftime show, and he got a lot of heat for what he said when Bill O'Reilly asked him about the terrorism situation around the world, and obviously America has to be the leaders. And what did Trump say? He goes, "We first have to look at ourselves, because it's not like we're saints. We're not that innocent." And Bill O'Reilly got mad at him, and he goes, "We can't be honest with ourselves about the terror and the evil that we've perpetrated, the things that we've done, the terrible things that we've done." And he got so much flack for that. But I really, that one moment of just being so candid, it was like, those are the little highlights I take, yes, it's Trump, whatever. But at the end of the day, I loved that honesty from an American president, because we haven't heard that since JFK Jr., JFK and Eisenhower. And even when he did that, when he was given the one State of the Union, right? And he said, we are not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. Little things like that matter, because people don't know our history anymore.
No, they don't.
And I get so tired when I hear about, terrorists in Sudan and terrorists in Afghanistan and terror. What about the terrorists here? Not the us people who wave flags and go to our nation's capital. No. What about the actual terrorists, the federal agencies that perpetuate terror and indoctrination and regime change and imperialism onto the world, but do it at home first, just in a backhanded way? What about that? We don't ever fucking address that, do we? No, that's worse than anything else we'll see anywhere. And it's like, we're not all living in huts in the street, and we're not, killing zoo animals for food. Not yet. What do you think they use these other countries for? They're test subjects. They're literally test subjects.
We're seeing shortages in the grocery stores now, so maybe we're not too far from killing zoo animals. Jesus.
It's so deliberate and so by design. And that's the overarching thing here is we have to recognize, call out, and you want to hold a protest, great, but know what you're protesting. Protest the greater fucking evil, the greater shit that we've been doing and have been doing since the 50s. This is nothing new. What we did was we watched what the Nazis did and said, we're semi-funding this, but not so much. But how can we take that and bring it home? First, we'll take the SS. Mao Zedong will send you to China. You're a good person. Isn't it amazing how Japan has become such a great ally, and they're all about humanitarianism, and China is now the dictatorship, and China used to be our ally, and they're getting their ass kicked by little imperialism Japan back in the day, and how we flipped that around, and then what we did in Iraq, what we did in Iran, what we did in Venezuela, what we did in Cuba, what we did. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. We install and institute evil into this world, and then we make ourselves the heroes by proxy. We're fighting ourselves, and we're so
absolutely
right. We're so caught up in the battle with ourselves that we don't even realize that we are the catalyst.
I'm sorry, but you're saying that, like, that we're fighting ourselves, and look what happened with the whole last couple years. We have had more negativity, more people like screaming and hating each other, including like wiping them, like won't even talk to them if they're family members anymore because of political party situations. You voted for Trump, I can never speak to you again. You voted for Biden, you're a piece of shit, you're out of my family. Like, what? Like, is this something that has ever happened before to this extent? Not that I remember. Like, I know that people didn't like Obama, and I know there was some stuff about that. Like, and to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of him either. I didn't vote for him. So, like, whatever. But I don't remember the vitriolic, like nastiness, and like people literally like not being friendly with each other anymore. Like, what the hell? Like this, I mean, even families being torn apart because of this. And you know what? That's, like you say, as you always say, it's done by design. Like they've destroyed this nation because most people can't talk to those that they, like we're unusual, Dan. Like, we have differences as far as like certain politics, but like, holy fuck, we can talk to each other. We are civil. We like each other. Like, what the hell? Like, this is unusual. Apparently. I don't understand. Like, this is just insanity.
Typical things like conversation have become the new underground, the new like, this is the Scarlet Letter. And Obama was kind of it. Obama was calm yourself. Don't cancel smells.
Sorry.
Obama was the transition. Obama was evil in a different way. Obama did a lot of damage to the American people, of course, but he was more focused on, Gaddafi, I want to be an ally. We kill you. We institute ISIS. We institute this. We institute instability. We break an already broken healthcare system. So, in other words, America was already getting tired of, patriotism, fight the terrorists. They were tired of that. So, crash the economy, reset. Let's go into the new cycle. And that's why I love how Bush and Obama are all buddies and everything. They're all part of the same system.
Yeah.
So Obama
right?
was
Holy
Obama
shit.
was, I'm going to bring the troops home. I'm going to do this. And then what did he do? He caused more wars, more strikes, more death, more destruction. You see, it was basically transitioning into the next phase, going towards then Agenda 21, which now has become Agenda 30 because they had that little roadblock in between. So he served his purpose. So it's like all the puppets kind of serve their purpose to build it up, really from Bush Senior up. Now, the Reagan thing, I would have to look more. Like, I don't like what Reagan did with the amnesty shit. He did a lot of good stuff. He also didn't do a lot of good stuff either. So, but I think it was really perpetuated when it was very, very much known that, what's it called? That Bush Senior did not want Reagan. No, Reagan didn't want Bush Senior as his vice president. And he was basically told, that's who you're getting. That's who you're getting. But that's how it went, Yeah. And Bush Senior served one purpose: begin the next wave of Middle East. We got to turn on our allies. So go after Saddam, and then utter those famous words publicly: a new world order. And there you go. And that was the call sign for, okay, phase one underway. Construction has begun, and boom. Then Clinton came in, and well, we meant to bomb Bosnia, but we accidentally hit Greece. No big deal, and just the further destruction, the further degradation, the further whatever. And then he had dope fuck come in, who I voted for, first president I could vote for in 2004. I was so proud of myself. God, I regret it every day. George Bush Jr. Then the worst terrorist attack until January 6th that the nation's ever seen, that you were all a part of and allowed to happen, and use that as a catalyst of patriotism and the Patriot Act and don't you like how they lump the Patriot Act and patriotism? Like they shielded it in an American flag, right? This is about freedom, that we're going to spy on your phone calls and watch you at home and everything. It's all about freedom and killing the terrorists. Like, and you see, but you look at the cycle, right? And that's the thing. I know I gotta wrap up here, but that's the part that I find comical, and that's why with all the shit. Like I said, I never hide the things that Trump did that I didn't agree with, but at the end of the day, he didn't fill that piece. He wasn't, maybe, and who knows, maybe behind the scenes, maybe he was supposed to do this and it was agreed upon, but he didn't do what he was supposed to do, so he had to go.
Right. And
it really set them back, but not enough. You see? So there was the one little, he didn't start wars. He didn't enrich big pharma. He broke dependency on foreign oil. Those things right there, and brokering peace, you can't do that. You see, you can't do that. So now we got to get back to where we were. So now we have the Medical Patriot Act coming because of COVID, which was already put in effect when Fauci was talking in 2017. The next administrations will be faced with a pandemic. And then you see, nothing is coincidental. They always have backup plans, but they didn't expect it to go the way that it did. So it took them a little bit longer, but they got what they wanted. So now we're right back on track. So we are the greatest evil. We're the greatest country, but we're the greatest evil just for what we do to ourselves and what we do to the world.
We make Russia look like kittens.
Exactly. You know what? Russia does some fucked up shit, but at the end of the day, whether you're religious or not, what is one of the biggest things to hate? Well, they're overtly a Christian nation. Okay. And it's all right. Like, listen, and we're not getting religious debate and shit, but so Russia's so evil. Well, they kill they kill the people that disagree with them. Like, we don't.
Yeah, and
they just don't hide it. I mean, like, we're the ones that point the finger at the world while what we're doing is worse. Yeah. And it's like I said, kill the spirit of libertad. Liberty has to die. The spirit of resistance has to die. Philippines going back into a lockdown starting August 1st. Why? They're one of those dangerous countries where, remember, they fought with us very valiantly to the end in World War II, and they look how much sacrifice, how much they gave up, and they're they're the bitches of China now, and America just cut them off a long time ago. But there's fighters there, so we got to lock them down. Oh, there's fighters in those other countries in Europe, got to lock them down. You see, it all fits that pretty little picture.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shut up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, you're absolutely right. Wow.
All right.
That was a good one. Oh, I liked this. This was a good good conversation.
I enjoyed it. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me as always. On our show.
On our show, yes. It's our show. Sorry, I know you don't talk like that.
Do I really sound like that? I really need to help myself.
No, you don't. I'm just being an asshole. But anyway,
Oh.
well, any final words?
No, I think that this. I just you leave me a lot of food for thought, and I'm going to look up the Project MK Ultra. I started to look at that, and I'd love to talk about that next week. That'd be great, or the week after, whatever the hell we see each other again.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I am down. I would love to. So awesome. Well, thank you, and I love you as always.
Love you too. And are you going to keep this? Thanks, Kit. Are you going to keep this one open? And shall I just leave then, or are you doing a whole new thing?
No, I close this up and open another studio.
Okay.
So it's craps. Right. They fucking suck. Anyway, so I know. But thank you. And everybody else is listening. Please stay tuned. PolitiShock is coming like literally in a minute. I got to go jump off one screen and go on the other screen and, do our thing. I'm sure they're already in the studio. But I love you and thank you. And don't worry.
Have a great night.
Yeah, thank you. I downloaded my Uber app already. All right. So
All right.
Good tips. All right.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And I love you. And I'll talk to you soon. And you're more than welcome to join the other show. You know that. Just saying.
4 hours in a row is a bit much for me.
I know.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. We'll see you in 1 minute on the next show. Get ready for PolitiShock. And thank you.